Fake HOA cops accused a teen of theft didn't know he's the president's own son. What would you do if a stranger accused you of a crime you didn't commit, right in front of a crowd? That's exactly what happened to 16-year-old Ethan Carter on a sunny Saturday afternoon in Crestwood Park. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers and the hum of families enjoying a rare warm day. Ethan, a lanky teen with a mop of curly hair and a skateboard under his arm, was just trying to enjoy a moment of peace. He'd been practicing tricks near the park's fountain, his earbuds blasting music, when a shadow loomed over him. It was HOA Karen, as the neighborhood called her, not her real name, but a nickname earned through years of meddling, shouting, and self-appointed authority. She stood there, arms crossed, her neon yellow Crestwood HOA patrol vest glowing like a warning sign. "You stole that skateboard," she barked, her voice slicing through the park's calm. Ethan froze, confused, as heads turned and whispers spread like wildfire. HOA Karen, whose real name was Linda Voss, had made a name for herself as the neighborhood's unofficial enforcer. She wasn't a cop, not even close, just a middle-aged woman with a clipboard and a vendetta against anyone who didn't fit her narrow view of proper. She'd been terrorizing Crestwood for years, citing imaginary HOA rules to scold kids for chalk drawings or fine families for untrimmed hedges. But today, she'd set her sights on Ethan, claiming she'd seen him snatch the skateboard from another kid. Her evidence? Nothing but her own loud conviction and a vague description of a suspicious teen she'd overheard at the community center. The crowd grew, phones came out, and Ethan's heart pounded as Karen's accusations escalated. "You're a thief. I'm calling the real police," she shouted, tossing his backpack to the ground and kicking it for emphasis, its contents spilling across the grass books, a water bottle, a crumpled photo of his family. Ethan tried to explain. "This is my board. I've had it for years." But Karen wasn't listening. She never did. She thrived on the power of her accusations, relishing the crowd's attention. She gestured wildly, knocking over a nearby picnic table, its contents crashing to the ground, as she ranted about delinquents ruining our community. Ethan's face burned with embarrassment and anger, but he held his ground, his voice steady. "You're wrong. You don't even know me." The crowd murmured, some nodding in support, others egging Karen on. Then, a twist. A quiet, unassuming woman in her 40s pushed through the crowd. It was Mrs. Delaney, the local librarian, clutching a worn ledger. "Linda, stop this nonsense," she said firmly. "I saw Ethan at the library this morning, working on a school project. He's no thief." The crowd hushed, and Karen's face faltered, but she doubled down, sneering. "You're just covering for him." Mrs. Delaney's intervention shifted the mood. Whispers turned to doubts about Karen's story. Ethan, emboldened, pulled out his phone and showed a photo of himself with the skateboard, timestamped 2 years ago. The crowd's sympathy swung toward him, but Karen wasn't done. She grabbed Ethan's phone, claiming it was evidence, and in her frenzy, tossed it into the fountain. Gasps erupted. Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't lunge. Instead, he said something that stopped everyone cold. "You're going to regret this when my dad hears about it." Karen laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. "Your dad? What's he going to do? Ground me?" The crowd chuckled nervously, but Ethan's eyes held a quiet certainty that made a few onlookers pause. The confrontation reached its peak as 2 real police officers arrived, summoned by a bystander. Karen, triumphant, pointed at Ethan. "Arrest him. He's a thief." But the officers, calm and professional, asked for Ethan's side first. He explained, his voice steady but laced with frustration, while Mrs. Delaney corroborated his story. The officers turned to Karen, asking for proof. She stammered, pointing to the scattered backpack and the skateboard. But her story unraveled. No one had seen a theft. No other kid had reported a missing board. The officers' expressions hardened as they realized Karen's accusations were baseless. Then, the bombshell, one officer recognized Ethan. "Wait," he said, his eyes widening. "You're Ethan Carter?" As in, the Carter family. The crowd went silent. Karen's smug grin vanished. Ethan nodded, almost reluctantly. "Yeah, my dad's kind of a big deal." The officer, now visibly nervous, whispered to his partner. The truth hit like a thunderclap. Ethan was the youngest son of President Daniel Carter, the nation's leader, who'd kept his family out of the spotlight to protect their privacy. Karen's face drained of color as the officer explained, loud enough for the crowd to hear, that Ethan wasn't just some random teen who was the president's son. The crowd erupted in murmurs, phones now recording Karen's stunned expression. Her reign of terror, built on lies and intimidation, crumbled in real time. The officers retrieved Ethan's phone from the fountain, apologizing profusely, while Karen tried to backpedal. "I didn't know. How could I know?" she stammered, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Her destruction, Ethan's scattered belongings, the overturned table, the ruined picnic stood as evidence of her recklessness. Karen's downfall was swift and brutal. The officers issued her a citation for disorderly conduct and property damage. But the real punishment was social. Videos of her meltdown spread across social media, tagged HOA Karen and Justice for Ethan. Neighbors who'd once feared her now openly criticized her, recounting years of her baseless accusations and petty power trips. The HOA, embarrassed by the association, stripped her of her self-proclaimed patrol title. Ethan, meanwhile, handled it with grace. He didn't gloat or seek revenge. Instead, he helped clean up the mess Karen had made, earning quiet respect from the crowd. Mrs. Delaney, ever the unsung hero, offered him a ride home, where his parents, shocked but proud, welcomed him with a hug. The president himself later issued a statement, not about the incident, but about the importance of fairness and listening before judging. In the end, Ethan's story wasn't just about a teen proving his innocence, it was about standing up to bullies, no matter how loud they shout. Karen's actions, fueled by ego and prejudice, backfired spectacularly, leaving her isolated and exposed. Ethan emerged stronger, a quiet reminder that truth has a way of rising above the noise. What would you have done in Ethan's shoes? Or in the crowd's? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between standing up for what's right and letting anger take over?